Several people have asked to see how I store all this junk mail that I collect. So today we're back in my art room, which as you might know is actually a bedroom with art stuff in it. But hey, it works okay for now, so I'm just happy to have at least some space to call my own. This is where I keep all my junk mail and paper, really, in this under the window here. In these, they're actually just cardboard boxes. Okay, let's just see how this is going to work. I have no idea. I know, I really hate watching videos where the camera moves a lot, so I don't like doing it, but sometimes it can't be helped. But I don't know if you can tell, these are just plain cardboard boxes from my garage that I've repurposed, and some of them I have, you know, covered with fabric and stuff. Some of them I haven't. It's just not really a huge priority for me. So anyway, I'll show you where we are. Right here in this first bin, this is kind of a catch-all. This is where I tend to throw stuff that is leftovers from when I've been working on making some junk journals. I'll just toss them in here. I'm not really good about refiling them where they go at that time. I tend to let them build up and then refile them later. And then sometimes I just leave them here because they just really feel like they want to live here and they don't really have another place to go. So this is just the catch-all bin. Behind it, if you can see, this is the little bin where I keep all of my envelopes. Well, not all of my envelopes. All of my junk mail journal appropriate envelopes, put it that way. These are, it's got a bunch of glassine envelopes and glassine bags, some coin envelopes, and then mostly junk mail envelopes. You know, little reply envelopes and just stuff I pulled out of junk mail. It also has some bags in it. I love these pharmacy bags because I like the way they sound. That just makes me happy. And then some other bags that friends have sent me or that I've collected. So that's envelopes and bags. And that goes right behind the catch-all. And then next we have, this is one of the bins I seem to get into the most, this one on top. This is where I keep all of my notepads. And it's got some like post-it note things and lined notepads, freebie pads, plain stuff, clearance rack. You know, just all kinds of things. These are my junk mail journal spots, or journaling tags, I guess is what you'd call them. And see, there's some more I got on a clearance rack. So they just live in there. And this is usually a lot fuller because I have a stack that goes right here. And I'll show that in the next video because I'm fixing to show how I assemble and bind the journals, the junk journals I make out of junk mail. And what I do is I just pull a few sheets off of almost each one of these, and I have that stack of loose sheets, and that's what I work from rather than this, because I like to spread them out where I can see them, and I don't want to spread all of these out every time I do it, and I don't want to have to flip through them and pick what I want. So I just pull a few sheets off of a bunch of them, lay them out, and then that's what I work with for that batch of journals. I don't think that made any sense at all, but you'll see in the next video, or whenever I get around to posting what I'm doing. That bin on the bottom, it's got some, oh, these are actually some large format junk journals that I started and just haven't really been inspired to finish. So that's what those are. But then it's got pads of graph paper and ledger paper and I don't know what all else. There's probably some carbon paper. I don't know what's in there. But, you know, that type thing. That's what goes in that bin. And by the way, I cut all these down and, okay, see, that needs to be fixed. They're just kind of held together with hot glue or duct tape or whatever I happen to have had handy. You know, if they fall apart, it's a box. So what? I throw it out, I get another one. They work for now. Alright, this one is, this little front part is, you know what, I think that was a Q-tip box or something. I don't know. Anyway, I just glued it on there. And inside there are these, I guess they're photo mats or die cuts or something that I've gotten off of clearance racks, you know. Just pretty little cardstock cutout thingies and die cuts. And I don't know about you, but every time I open a box of Kleenex, I gotta save the little thing. Those are just off of the top of Kleenex boxes. I don't know what I'm going to do with them, but they're kind of cool. You know, I'm not, it's an Easter egg! No, I don't know what I'm going to do with them, but I need those, I'm sure. Then that is glued onto this box back here, which has postcards, you know, stuff I get in the mail or that I pick up, all different sizes, and then behind the postcards is my little box of, you know, these little cards that you get in junk mail, you know, like that. It's not really a credit card because it's kind of paper, but it's like that. So I have a whole little thing full of those. Then I've got my perfume, stack of perfume samples, and these are just random magazine pages that I've pulled out because, you know, either I like the image on the page, or I like the way it felt, or I like the pattern, or, you know, for some reason I liked that page. So I ripped it out. I stick it in here, not in any particular order. And then in the back, there are whole magazines that I keep. Most of these will end up being painted on. Some of them I will use in junk journals, but I don't need them right now because I already have others like it. So that's what those are. So magazine pages, parts, and postcards are in that bin. And underneath there is, oh man, I forgot about that. Okay, these are also where I just throw stuff when I am, whoops, making a mess. When I'm making journals, because I'll make several at one time, and they'll all be kind of similar but not identical. And I will pull stuff out. I'll pull pages out of books. I'll grab newspapers, magazines, whatever, pull stuff out, maps, and then I just kind of stuff them back in here when I'm done. Because, you know, if I pull out 6 pages of a magazine and I only use 5, I'm not going to go stuff that one page back in, right? So, this is my just kind of extra pages for junk journals. And when I go to make new ones, I start here. I use what I can out of here. Then I go to my other big stash of books and stuff, which is someplace else, and pull from there. Moving on down, we have this little thing on top here. Can you see? Yeah, that's just got stuff that I didn't know what to do with it, so I stuck it in there. Little things. These are leftovers from when I use my Cricut cutter to print out my calling cards. It cuts it with this frame around the thing, and I save the frame, and the thing becomes my calling card. I'm not making much sense. I don't know why I'm not making much sense today, but anyway, you'll just have to use your imagination. These are mostly the leftover baby wipes and paper towels and things that I use when I'm painting background papers. I'll stick them in there. And then these on the bottom are various scrap papers and magazine papers that are ready to be painted on. Some of them I've already painted on a little bit, and then some of them just are waiting to be painted. And this is stuff that is too tall or too big to fit in any of the other bins, so I'll just stuck it right there. And down here we have this little thing is full of die-cut, you know, chipboard shapes and stuff. They're all clearance rack, Tuesday morning type doodads that are good decorations. And these are all little tags and journaling spots, but they're not junk mail. You know, they're like, that's, I think, Joann's dollar rack and stuff that I've printed out. You know, more official looking journaling spots. This pulls out, and I just glued those boxes together. See, that was a wheat thins and, I don't know, some kind of shipping box. But in the back here are just some little random decorations, and all of these are little like index thingies that you can fold over, you know, and put on the edge of your pages. What do you call them? Tabs, that's it. And behind that, oh, that goes, I don't know where that goes. We'll just stick it right there. Is a stack of, these are different little like address books and date books and things that have papers in them that I sometimes pull from, and they've got kind of cool covers, so I'm going to use their covers for something else, but they're just kind of stuck back in there. So there's that. And that's really about it for the junk mail. Everything else is more scrapbook paper-ish. And this is my scrapbook paper. Well, let me show you. Let's do this. Yeah. This is the thingy that I keep my scrapbook paper in. Yeah, I don't remember where I got it. Maybe Hobby Lobby or something several years ago. But it's, you know, like an accordion file, and it's got my papers in it, and they're kind of, you know, like I'll keep all the reds together, all the pinks together, all the greens together, that kind of thing. But as you can see, I don't have just a ton of scrapbook paper. And I don't want a ton of scrapbook paper. I don't want a wall shelf, you know, full of scrapbook paper, because that's just too much. I just don't have a need to keep that much on hand, because it would just be hoarding more than using. But, you know, that's my big thing. If I limit myself to small containers, it keeps me from hoarding stuff and helps me to actually use it, because when my container starts getting full, I know that I've got to use some, because I can't go get another container. That's my rule to myself. I have to keep it in this container. So if I can't fit more paper in this container, I have to use it to make room. So that's the way that I trick myself, because myself is not very bright and is easy to fool. So it works for us, for me and myself. And let's see, this is the rest of the scrapbook paper. This is kind of parts and pieces of scrapbook paper. If they're not itty-bitty bits, but substantial enough pieces to reuse, you know, like that, then I stick them in here. And I really do try to keep them kind of staggered by size, because it's easy to see. And I like the way it looks, and I like flipping through it. And usually when I need a piece of scrapbook paper or decorative paper, I have a certain size that I need, you know, because my project is whatever size, so I know I need this size. And this kind of helps me with that, helps me to use up my scraps better, and it just works for me. But it's not just scrapbook paper, it's decorative paper. Pretty much everything except for like tissue papers and napkins, those really, really fine things I keep in a different spot. But that's what all this is. These are full sheets of scrapbook paper that I pulled out for some project and then had them left over, and I'm not good about putting them back in the file where they go. So I just stack them here. And that's fine, because this is where I'll go to first the next time I need some paper. And then back behind, these are, you know, paper pads. And I don't buy a ton of those, but I've got a few. So I just keep those here. And then in the very back is my favorite bin, because that's the one that's falling. That's the one that's full of my painted papers. And I just, whenever they're dry, I just kind of stuff them in there. Some of them I've already folded. They're getting ready to become journals pretty soon. So that's where they go. So that's it. And I've just recently rearranged some of my drawers so they're not all labeled like I like. But I put in this first drawer, this is where the scrapbook paper and other papers go that are really kind of too small for that. This is like, you know, my little parts and pieces goes in there. And that's it. You know, it's not perfect, it's not ideal. I can think of dozens of different ways that I would rather have it, but with the limited space and resources that I have, this is really working pretty well for me right now. You know, and I like that it's kind of modular, because I've changed my mind a lot. And I could wake up tomorrow and just rearrange this entire room. And, you know, with a big, bulky wooden cabinet, that's not quite as easy to do as it is if you have, you know, these modular bins like this. So it works for me. Okay, that is all I have for right now. Bye.